So we already finished all the section about repetition. So if you look at this title, this is the week 5 repetition. Actually, you can change this title. Okay. So when you do your mid exam, yeah, you can change. For example, you want to type your name, okay, Bernardo. Okay, then you can type your name in this section. So when I ask you to write the name and your student ID, so you can put your name and student ID here. So we finished the repetition and we already did the diamond problem. Okay. So this is the diamond problem. We completed the first part. Okay, using this for loop, you can create the first half of the diamond. Okay. So you can try to complete this one, how to create the next half of the diamond. Now let's go to the second challenge. So we are having a problem of the demand generator. Suppose there is an inventory of salt bread, so compound. Okay. So we have 100 pieces of salt bread. Now we need to do a simulation. Simulate the number of customers who will come and buy. Okay. Also simulate the number of bread that the customer will buy. So it means the first we need to do the simulation about the customer. So the customer will come and buy, or the customer will come and not buy. The other kind of simulation is how many bread. Okay. Simulate the number of bread that the customer will buy. So if the customer buy, how many breads? Okay. Then the first, you need to design the flowchart. We can see that the customer visit. Okay. And then we can have another process. We can check, or maybe not the box. We can have a condition. Okay. The condition is buy or not. If the customer buy, so if the condition is true, then the question is how many. Okay. And then after you check how many, it means I want to know if the customer buy 5. We have 100. So we need to check if the customer buy 5 salt bread, whether we still have the inventory or not. Then if it is still available, we can sell to the customer. If the inventory already finished, then we cannot sell to the customer. So let one item of salt bread is 2,500. Show the total sales in a day. Okay. Now, let's do together. How can we do this one? So on the mid exam, I will give you question like this, and I will give you also the output like this one. Salt bread demand simulation. So we are simulating the demand for, okay, this is number. Okay. This number is from the simulation. It means it is random generator. And then we simulate. The customer one wants to buy 5 salt bread. So sold 5 salt bread and the sales is 12,500 Korean won. The customer 2 wants to buy 4 salt bread and we sold 4 and the sales is 10,000 Korean won and so on. So we have until 34 customers. So we sell until all the salt bread finish. In the customer 34, there are not enough inventory. The customer 34 wants to buy 3 salt bread, but only remaining 2 salt bread. So at the end of the day, so the initial inventory is 100, and then the total sales, okay, we complete all the salt bread, and then the remaining inventory is 0. Okay. So you need to make this kind of code. How? Let's do together. Okay. At first, we know that this is a simulation. What is simulation? It is based on the random generator. So we can import the random. And then there are two kind of condition that we need to build. The first is the number of customer and the other is the number of bread. Then you need to prepare two kind of variables. Okay. So let's see. We have the number of customer. Okay, let's start with 0. And then number of bread. Let's start with 0. And then we have the price is 2,500. Price equals to 2,500 and total sales start from 0. Okay. So when you already know this kind of problem, usually we set up the variable based on the problem at the initial stage. After we have this one, then let's check. Simulate the number of the customer who will come and buy. So you can decide. In the exam, yeah, you can decide by yourself. For example, I want to repeat the simulation until the inventory finished. Oops, the AI show. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you do the exam and the AI appears, I don't know. Okay, anyway, let's try without the AI. So I want to repeat the simulation until the inventory finish. Then I can make the while. So let me just use the while true. Do you still remember while true? So if the condition always true. Okay, so this will be repeated always until you got the break. Okay. So what is the condition for break? Because we want to repeat until the simulation, until the inventory finish. So if we have the inventory, let's put 100 because based on this information, we have 100 pieces. So if the inventory is less than 0, then break. Then what's next? When I create the flowchart, okay, so we can simulate the customer. So the customer who wants to buy or not. So let's assume, okay, you can just make the assumption. Assume that a customer who visit will buy at least one bread. Okay, for example. Okay. So we want to make assumption that the customer who visit the store, or they will buy at least one. Then no. Okay. If you make the assumption that the customer visit and always buy at least one, okay, you can see the suggestion from the AI. The number of customer will be plus by one, and the number of bread will be using the random integer. Do you know? Okay, we want to create any number from, yeah, you can decide. Okay, I will just follow this one then. Number of customer will be added by one. So it means we make the assumption whenever a customer comes, then they will buy. And then the number of bread is random. So we do not know whether the customer will buy one, or he will buy two, or he will buy three, he will buy four. So just a random. And then, oh, yeah, the AI is very smart. Actually, I already turned off, but I don't know why it still appear. Okay, anyway, if it appears in the exam, it means you are lucky. Okay, so you are lucky if you got AI. But you need to check. Okay, sometimes the AI is not correct, so you need to check whether the code is correct or not. So what does it mean by this one? The total sales plus equal to the number of bread multiplied by price. So it means the number generated by the random function will be multiplied by the price, which is 2,500, and we can get the total sales. After we know that the customer buy the bread, now we check the inventory, because the customer already buy a number of bread, so the inventory will be decreasing. So we need to minus the inventory. Then the inventory will be minus by the number of bread that the customer buy. And then check, what about the inventory? If the inventory is less than 0, then pick. If not, we will continue. Okay. So at this time, you can try. Okay. Before you try, we need to set up the output. So we need to do print. Okay. Print. So let's see this one. Yeah, because this is only the example. You can try to make the code following this flow, but you don't need to precisely do with this text. Okay. Yeah, if you can write the text similar or the same like this one, that's good. Okay, that's good. But if you cannot do this format, I'm okay as long as the flow is correct. Now let's see. Print. I want to know the customer. Okay. The customer number of customer wants to buy how many bread? Number of bread. Salt bread. Okay. And then print. Okay, I do not want to do that one. Print salt number of bread. Salt bread. Sales will be the total sales. Okay, so you can see the solution from the AI is not the same with the output. Okay, it means you need to think whether the AI will give you the correct solution or not. So I do not want to use this one. Now, let's assume that we can do with this one. Let's try. Okay, let's do this one. Maybe let me make one more. Okay. Customer one wants to buy 9 salt bread. Okay. Sold 9 salt bread and the sales is to 22,500 Korean won. Okay. Customer two wants to buy 10 salt bread. Sold 10 salt bread and the sales is it correct? It is not correct. So this is the total sales. Okay. So this is the total sales, but not the sales from the customer. Then you need to make a variable. So let's see this one. Maybe you want to make the customer sales. Okay. So the customer sales means the price that the customer will buy, or the price that the customer will give you for the salt bread. So I want to put here. Then let's do. So customer one wants to buy 2 salt bread. Sold 2 salt bread and the sales is 5,000. Customer two wants to buy 4 salt bread and sold 4 salt bread. Sales is 10,000. Okay, that's correct. 4 salt bread, it means 10,000. And so on. 4 salt bread, then 10,000. 8 salt bread, then 20,000. So we have, okay, 18 customers. Okay. So at the end, you can print. So the the output is the initial inventory is 100 and the total sales is this one and the remaining inventory is 0. So we can make print summary. Okay, print total sales. Okay, and print the total customer, for example, like this one. And the summary, the total sales is why 270,000. We have only 100 salt bread. Okay, if we have 100 salt bread, if we sell all the salt bread, it means we will get 250,000. But the total sale is 270. So there's something wrong. Why? I think because at the end, okay, at the end of this customer, they buy 9, maybe because the remaining of the salt bread is only 1. So the program cannot recognize how many inventory left. Okay, then you need to make this one correct. Okay. What can you do for this one? So you need to put here. If the inventory is less than 0, okay, then print. If not, else. So you can do like this one. But let's say we have the inventory only 1 left, but the customer, he wants to buy 5. How? If the inventory is less than 0, let's print. Okay. Now we need to have another condition. What is the condition? We can make else if the inventory is less than the number of bread, then the number of bread is equal to the inventory. Can you understand? Let's say the inventory is 2. And then I want to buy 5. What happened? 2, the inventory is 2. And then the sales is 5. And the number of bread that you can get is the number of the inventory. So you can buy only 2, even though the sales is 5. Even though you want to buy 5, but you cannot buy 5. You can only buy 2. Okay. Then we can do a condition like this one. And then the other condition is just the same. If the inventory is still high, then you can just do the minus. Now let's look again with this condition. Oops, something wrong. Now you can see the customer by 0, 0, 0, 0, but the customer numbers until 400,000. So what is wrong? Okay, what is the mistake here? So you will have this kind of problem during the exam. Okay. So even though the AI can help you the solution, but the AI cannot give you the correct solution. So what is the problem here? If the inventory is less than 0, let's break. So it means already. But if you look at this one, is it less than 0? It is 0. Wait, exactly 0. So it means it will never go to break. And let's say if I put equal, what happens? Now it is possible to see the result without the infinite loop. Customer 1 wants to buy 6. Okay, 6, then it is 15,000. Customer 2 wants to buy 3. Okay, this is correct. And then let's see how many customer. Oh, customer 38 wants to buy 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, all customer who want to buy 1. Oh, but the summary of the sales is 120. Oh, back manon. Why? What happened? What is the mistake here? Everything is already correct. But why it is not correct? So we still miss this one. After the number of red equals to the inventory, we still need to minus the inventory. So if we don't minus the inventory, we cannot get the correct inventory numbers. So let's see. Customer 1 buy 1 salt bread. Customer 2 buy 4 salt bread. Customer 3 buys 3, 7, and so on. Okay. Still remaining the problem. How? So the remaining problem always this one. We cannot remove the remaining part. So always the last customer, if the number of the sales, the number of bread is higher than the inventory, or the inventory is lower than the number of bread. Okay. So now you can see the customer got 9, but actually by looking at this one, it seems that there are only half. So the customer 16 can buy only 5 actually, but the customer 16 got 9 salt bread. So how can we fix this one? If the inventory is less than the number of bread, then what? Okay. If we have only 5 and the customer want to buy 9, then it should be 5. But it always show the number of bread, which is 9. If the inventory is less than the number of bread, then the number of bread will be equal to the inventory. So this is correct. And the inventory will be minus by the number of bread, or we can, if you want to make it stronger, you can just make the inventory equals to 0. Okay, but it's okay. We can have the minus equals to the number of bread. So the number of bread here already updated, but it never come here. So how can you solve this? You can try. If you put this one, the number of customer. Okay. So I want to know which customer will enter here. Less than inventory. Okay. So you can try. You can try to check if someone enter this condition. So who will enter the condition? Okay. So customer who get less than inventory is the customer 21. Okay. Customer 21 wants to get 6 salt bread. 6 salt bread. The price is 22,500. So you can check. In this case, how many inventory do you have? So print inventory. Okay. And then you can try again. Okay. So the customer 1, customer 18, he wants to buy 1 salt bread and the inventory is 1. Okay. But the sales is 15,000. Okay, there's something wrong in this calculation. What is the mistake here? 15,000. It means the customer 18 buy 8, 6. Okay. Why? There's something wrong with our code. Here. So the customer sales and the total sales always calculated before this condition. So that's why it creates the different numbers from the result. Then we can put the calculation here. So after we complete this condition, we can do this one. Now let's see. So I think the upper part is okay. Now you can see that the customer who get less than 7, who can get the last inventory 3. Okay, and now the customer 17 pay 7,500. Okay, that is correct. And then the sales summary is 250,000. Okay. So what you can see here is the sequence might be the problem, not about the code. So in the exam, I think you will have this kind of problem. Okay. So please try to check where is the problem. Sometimes you need to print like this one, no problem. If you can print in the middle like this one, and then after you finish, you can remove it. So this is the way to check where is the error, where is the mistake. And then after you know the mistakes, then you can fix the code until it is clean, and then you can submit it to the e-class. Okay. Okay, so one problem. Okay, we need to solve it like almost 40 minutes. So I hope that you can have understanding to solve this problem on the exam. The next problem, I give the solution. Okay, so I do not want to spend more time. So this is also another problem related to industrial engineering, which is about the production line inspection. Okay. So items are moving down a production line and you need to inspect a sample. Suppose there is a batch of 50 items. So we have, again, the simulation. Simulate the inspection every 5 items. So we have 50 items. And then we will check every 5. For each inspected item, there is a 15% chance it has a minor defect and 5% chance it has a major defect. So from this 5, there is 15% chance this is minor defect. And from this 5, there is a 5% chance it has a major defect. So we can make random number. The random number is 15% and this random number is 5%. Use the random module to determine the defect type. Count the number of minor and major defects found among the inspected items. So when you have this one 15%, you have 5%, then yeah, you will see how many of the minor and how many of the major. And then print the inspection result for its inspected item. So we have 5, and then next is 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 5. So for every 5, we need to see how many minor and how many major. How many minor, how many major, how many minor, how many major, how many minor, how many major, and so on until we complete all the 50 items. So we have the batch size is 50. And then we have the inspection interval, which is 5. So we have the probability 0.15 for the minor and 0.05 for the major. So we start with 0 for the minor and we start with 0 for the major. Now I'm using the list. Do you still remember list? So we want to collect every data inside a list. And then let's do the loop. So the loop, it is a number of iteration from 1 until the batch size plus 1. So what is batch size? It is 50. So let's just put 50 plus 1 because whenever we do the iteration, if we want to reach 50, it means we need to do the range until 51. okay, because it is until the number -1. So we can put +1. And then we will check for every item the remainder by inspection interval. What does it mean? The item number here, it is 1. The inspection interval is 5. Okay. So let's check. 1 divided by 5. Is it equal to 0? So if it is not 0, then it is still in 1 batch. Okay. And then check. This is the item that you need to inspect. And then let's make the random function. So if the random function, this number, is less than major defect, then just put the major defect. If this defect chance is less than the major defect plus minor defect probability, then let's put this as the minor defect. So we can have this kind of condition only to find whether it is major defect or minor defect. And then after we finish with 5, then you can do another check for each item until 50. So this is one solution to check the minor and the major defect. So inspecting item 5, no defect found. Inspecting item 10, no defect found. In the item 20, so minor defect found. In this item, we can find minor defect and so on. So the inspected item is this one. And then the total minor defect, we have 2. And the total major defect, we found 0. Okay. Yeah, this is another kind of problem that you may have. So all the things we already learned from the class, then you can figure out what would be the problem for the mid exam. Okay, let's have a break. Okay, I will continue after the break.